Welcome. Today, we're diving into something that is literally woven right into the DNA of human history, the map. From the very beginning of civilization, maps have been our way of figuring out, well, where on Earth we are. And what we're going to see today is that the evolution of mapping our world, it's a direct reflection of our ever-expanding desire to explore, to understand, and to just navigate our surroundings a bit better. We're going to trace an incredible journey from the literal dirt beneath our ancestors' feet all the way up into the stars. It's an absolutely wild ride.
So I want to kick things off with a question that might seem pretty simple at first glance. How long have we been mapping the world? I mean, think about the smartphone sitting right there in your pocket. Think about the GPS you rely on to, say, find a new coffee shop, or navigate a massive road trip, or even just check traffic on your commute. We take this instantaneous, hyper-accurate geographic knowledge completely for granted, right? It feels so modern. But the drive to record our spatial reality, to put it down so we can understand where we are in relation to everything else, that impulse is incredibly old. To find the origins of this, we've got to pull ourselves way, way back, thousands of years back from the glowing digital screens we use today.
Okay, let's dive into this. 2300 BCE. Just let that sink in for a second. We're talking about over 4,000 years ago. This isn't just a couple of centuries back. This is ancient history. This massive number really anchors just how old the practice of map-making truly is. Long before the printing press, way before the compass was even a thought, human beings were already systematically recording the geography of their world.
The earliest known maps actually pop up in ancient Babylonia. And no, they weren't printed on nice, crisp paper. They were carved directly onto heavy, chunky clay tablets. Just picture the deliberate, painstakingly slow process of taking wet clay and physically carving your environment right into it. These ancient maps, they showed local land, they traced the paths of rivers, and they marked out early settlements. They were highly localized. You see, this wasn't about charting the entire globe. No way. This was about immediate, practical survival. It was about defining the local area to solve everyday planning problems, to manage the agriculture near those rivers, and to organize their settlements. It was humanity looking at their immediate surroundings and saying, hey, we need a permanent record of this place.
Now we're going to take a massive chronological leap forward to around 150 CE. And with that, we're taking a massive conceptual leap too. A guy named Claudius Ptolemy writes Geographia, which was just a completely groundbreaking work. With this, we're moving away from just scratching local rivers into clay based on what you can see from the nearest big hill. Ptolemy's Geographia actually introduced abstract mathematical concepts to the art of mapmaking. This wasn't just drawing pictures anymore. This was about applying rigorous, hardcore thought to how we represent a three-dimensional world on a totally flat surface. And this brilliantly illustrates something truly revolutionary. Ptolemy gave us latitude and longitude. He introduced this mathematical system of grid lines to create far more accurate maps. I mean, think about how profound that is. These are invisible mathematical lines wrapped around the Earth, dreamed up in 150 CE. His ideas were so powerful that they influenced mapmaking for centuries. And get this, these exact same invisible mathematical lines, they are literally powering the map apps on your phone right this very second. The foundation for your morning commute was laid nearly 2,000 years ago. Mind-blowing, right? Fast forward a bit more, and the pace of human discovery just absolutely explodes as we hit the age of exploration, spanning the 15th to the 17th centuries. This is an era defined by dynamic, almost frantic growth. The localized maps of ancient times, yeah, those weren't going to cut it anymore. Humanity was taking to the oceans in ways they never ever had before, driven by that relentless desire to explore and expand. The world was suddenly becoming so much bigger, and well, the maps had to keep up. During this era, explorers and sailors were out there actively creating incredibly detailed maps of newly discovered lands. And they weren't just guessing out there, they were meticulously charting entirely new sea routes. These maps totally transformed. They went from basic drawings of land into vital, highly technical tools for global maritime navigation. Without these maps, the hugely improved navigation of this era, it simply wouldn't have been possible. Every single time a ship came back to port, these maps were updated, continually expanding our collective knowledge of the globe. The map had basically become a living, breathing document of human expansion.
Now, what's really interesting about this transition is the massive shift in how we actually did the mapping over the last few centuries. Think about the 19th and 20th centuries. Governments stepped in to produce highly accurate maps using intensive land surveys, taking to the skies with aerial photography, and applying really rigorous scientific measurements. It was this massive, physical, boots-on-the-ground effort. But contrast that physical effort with today. Today, our maps are entirely digital. We rely on GPS, a network of satellites orbiting the planet in real time, feeding data into vast computer networks, and then straight down into our smartphones.
We went from governments painstakingly measuring land with physical instruments to a seamless, invisible network of space-based technology giving us real-time navigation right at our fingertips. So, the crucial takeaway here is how this unbelievable technological leap impacts our daily lives right now. Modern mapping isn't just about finding a trade route across the ocean anymore. It powers our daily travel and our real-time vehicle navigation. It is absolutely critical for disaster response, letting us route emergency services the second they're needed. It dictates modern city planning. It's even a foundational tool for complex scientific research. The historical journey of the map has basically culminated in a technology that actively manages and sustains our modern civilization every single day.
Let's take a look at how this momentum builds across our entire timeline. It's like a giant puzzle coming together. We started way back in 2300 BCE, carving local rivers into clay tablets just to understand our own backyards. Then by 1500 CE, Ptolemy's Geographia drops the math of latitude and longitude on us. Skip to the 15th and 17th centuries, and we're using those concepts to chart vast new sea routes across the globe. Hit the 19th and 20th centuries, and we're using scientific land surveys and airplanes to measure the Earth with mind-boggling precision. And today we've got a digital GPS network literally orbiting the planet. It is this beautiful straight line of human progress, moving from the physical dirt in our hands to a global digital network in space.
Which brings us to our final thought for today's exploration. From those simple, heavy clay tablets to the interactive, glowing digital maps on our phones, the entire history of maps is, well, it's just a mirror. It reflects humanity's deep, unyielding desire to explore, to understand, and to navigate our world with ever-increasing accuracy. When you really think about it, the clay tablet and the smartphone are ultimately the exact same tool. They're separated only by time, but driven by the exact same human curiosity. So, as we look up from our screens today, and perhaps look out toward the stars, I want to leave you with this one thought. Where will maps take us next? Thank you so much for joining me on this incredible journey today. Keep exploring, and I'll catch you next time.